Now it's time to hear from our rock star, and we've got a man who's very honest about his reasons for joining a band. He's lived the rock and roll lifestyle, and you'll hear stories about Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne and Queen and more. He was the lead singer from a successful hard rock band of the 80s. They've had 11 top 40 albums, hit singles, Top of the Pops performances, sell-out arena tours, world tours, huge festival dates, and are still having hit albums nearly 50 years after they first formed. Welcome to the Vintage Rock Pod lead singer with the band Magnum, Mr. Bob Catley.
Thank you very much. Tommy Cooper. What a great build-up. I can't live up to all that.
Well, I mentioned there nearly 50 years since you first formed. Can you believe the success you've had and the fact that you're still much loved and going strong today?
No, not really. Somebody had told me I'd been doing all this stuff with Tony and Toby and other people over the years, then I just wouldn't have gone for that, because I just joined a band for to have some fun and be rock and roll, drink beer and chat up ladies of the night. All a long time ago. I joined the band all for the wrong reasons. But then I started taking it seriously, and I was thinking, I can't keep this rock and roll lifestyle up. And I got down to trying to, do it, to learn to sing properly, instead of just mucking about. And you've got to be honest about it. And it paid off. I joined band to band to band. I kept moving upwards, hopefully. And eventually I started working with Tony Clarkin back in 1972. At a wonderful place called the Rum Runner in Broad Street in Birmingham, which is no longer with us. But that's where it all started, as of Magnum, and we was doing covers, but then he started writing his own songs. Well, he'd written some songs and he brought them to us, and we were called Magnum by then. And he said, "Do you want to do these instead of this rubbish that we're doing?" Because it was just a covers band, just doing it for the money, basically. But then we started taking it seriously, doing Tony's songs, and that's how Magnum started properly. We got the boot from the Rum Runner, obviously, because it wasn't the type of music they wanted us to play. We used to have a laugh down there. We used to get Tony Iommi down here and Ozzy and Geezer Butler, most of Black Sabbath down there. And when they'd done the gig, and they were called Black Sabbath by then, and early days for them though. And they used to come down because the manager, Albert Chapman, he managed them for the time, and he also ran the Rum Runner. So he got him in there, and there was a lot of people coming down after the gigs, and it became known as like a rock and roll haunt after hours. You want to laugh and get up and sing, and people were encouraged to get up with us and play. I mean, I used to go to the bar and I like the place. Cheers. I was getting paid for doing nothing. Brilliant job. And you don't get many of them jobs into the penny, do you?
No, not at all.
It was classic, but it didn't last long. And we went out on the road and started out playing with bigger bands just to get ourselves a following, an audience.
Absolutely. Well, you say bigger bands, but they were huge bands, some of them. I mean, Whitesnake, Def Leppard, Blue Oyster Cult. I mean, wow.
Yeah. You said it for me. Yeah, that's how Magnum started out properly. We were lucky enough to get a record deal with Jet Records through Jeff Lynne from Merlot, a mate of ours at the time. Still is, hopefully. And we went on from we never know, do you? We went on from there, and great. And we've done. I mean, our last album was our 21st album. Yeah. The Serpent Rings. So we're still here doing it. I mean, I've been around the world with Avantasia 3 times. Yep. I wouldn't have believed that either some years ago. Me around the world. What are you talking about? It's fantastic. I mean, Magnum's been all over Europe and America supporting Ozzy Osbourne.
Yes, yeah.
In the 80s.
And how was that? Because obviously on the back of you had a big album, didn't you, with Chase the Dragon? That was the first one that really cut through for you, and then that helped you get on the tour with Ozzy, didn't it, in '82? I mean, how was that?
But you can imagine. Expletive, and fill in the gaps. Just use your imagination what it's like being on the road with Ozzy Osbourne. I think you don't need to hear it from me. It was great. It was great fun. I don't think we sold any records over there, but we went down really good. They loved the band. They'd never heard of us. Magnum, who were them? At the time it would have been like, you're that P.I., Tom Selleck, you know. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, and so that got us off to a good start, and we ended up doing the NEC, you know, in the mid-80s, and that's no light achievement, I think. And we did that a couple of times. So Magnum's done pretty good over the years. We've had a few line-up changes, but that happens all the time, really. Yeah. Some bands. But it's been great, and I've had a great life, and I still am. I mean, even with all this stuff that's going on at the moment, this awful pandemic virus stuff, it's mucking everybody about. I mean, nobody knows where they are at the moment.
No, unfortunately not.
They're so up and down at the moment, you know. It's like, what the hell's going on here? So hopefully things will improve and we can get back to what we do best, which is recording music and touring it on the road with our lovely fans, which we would be nowhere without our fans. They've kept us going through thick and thin all these years, and at the moment we're in the thick. I'm not sure we're in the thick or the thin, but we're in the crap anyway. So whatever. We've had some big help along the way, and what can I say? It's been lovely. I hope it isn't finished yet.
Absolutely not.
I'm not only in Magnum, but I'm also in something called Avantasia as well, which keeps me busy in between Magnum. So I lead a very busy life.
I was going to say, I wonder where you do get time to do anything other than music, because in the last 20 years since Magnum reformed, you've released an album every other year. You've toured with them all as well. So when do you get a chance to have a bit of downtime for Bob?
I don't. Sometimes, quite a bit in between. Sometimes, you know, it depends what's happening. What's happening in a particular year. I can be really busy, or I can be like, I like being at home, and I do. I don't mind being at home at all. I go away that often sometimes, and for such a long period of time, like 3 months or something. It's ridiculous. Oh, really? Is that long? Yeah, and. It's great, and I forgot where I live, and it's nice to see my family, and so I don't mind being at home. I don't do things in between with my job, singing, performing, touring, rehearsing, everything, making the tea, going for a curry, that's part of it as well. The pub comes into it, so now they're back open again. Yeah. I like being sociable. I've got quite an active social life, but I don't want to do anything else apart from what I do, because it's enough for me to do, and I'm knocking on a bit now, so hang on, give me a break. I really don't mind having a break at home.
Don't blame me.
It's nice. I do like it.
I don't blame you.
But then I look forward to coming out and doing what I do best with my job, you know. So it's a balance, and it's a nice life. It's well balanced for me, and I don't like too much pressure these days. I can't handle it. So nice and easy. Give me an easy job, like being in Magnum, being in Avantasia, and being very well known all around Tamworth. All the bus drivers beat me. All right, Bob. The taxi drivers, even the train drivers beat me.
Oh, nice.
I mean, these Magnum fans get everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if I can take you back to the mid-'80s, if you don't mind. I mean, you really were huge. I mean, you had big commercial success, you had big breakthroughs, you had some huge albums, didn't you? And the one that really, really did cut through was On a Storyteller's Night. When you were recording that, did you feel at the time that there was something special going on?
I think so, yes, I did. I mean, the songs the tracks that Tony wrote, the lyrics, the music.
Yeah.
We came back from a pretty vacant period after a couple of years not being with Jet Records, and we after the 11th Hour album,
Yep.
it all went a bit quiet for us. But Storytellers Night was like, oh, here we go, proper stuff, and it sold hugely well, got us to into more the mainstream of rock fans than we had been before, I think, and that was the big difference. And also Tony knew that, and we couldn't stay as we were before. It wasn't going anywhere really. But Storytellers Night kicked us up the backside, and here we go. We were doing proper gigs, proper tours, and big festivals all around Europe. I remember it very well. Status Quo and Meat Loaf and all sorts of places, all sorts of people. Sorry, Meat Loaf isn't a place; it's a person. So on a sort of, I mean, we still do, 4 or 5 of them songs in the show. So I mean, because that period is the main cornerstone of the Magnum show, really. It's what we're best known for, that period. And then Wings of Heaven came along, and that took off another level. We did Wembley Arena with that one.
Yeah.
With Wings of Heaven. So it was all.
And just in between there as well, to drop another name in, Vigilante, that was recorded with Roger Taylor from Queen was been producing that, wasn't it? I mean, how on earth did that come about?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Money talks. I think we bribed him. Yeah, come on, Roger, we'll take you out for a curry. You produce our album for us. He went, oh, go on then. And I'm just making things up on him. And it was our manager at the time, his idea, and the record label between them. They wanted, somebody behind the steering wheel of the album, who was well respected in the business and could, open doors for us, being our producer. That was the whole idea, and it was very good. And his sidekick, his main man, Dave Richards, who's no longer with us, unfortunately. He was doing a lot of stuff when Roger wasn't there, because he was off with Queen, doing It's a Kind of Magic tour and video, and we went to see him at Wembley Stadium, the old Wembley Stadium. We was in the Queen's Royal Box, right, on the VIP list. Magic it was, and the after-show party. I could tell you some stories there, but I won't. And you have to be there. Now that was rock and roll, Queen's after-show party.
I can imagine.
Man, you should have been there, I tell you. Everybody and the cat was there, but brilliant it was. And and I forgot what I'm talking about.
No, it's okay. I was going to say, moving on from there, Wings of Heaven kind of kicked in, and that was even bigger, and you had your 3 top 40 singles, you're on top of the pops. I mean, honestly, you're in the Royal Box with Queen, but you must have felt on top of the world around this time.
Well, yes, it was great. It was like how it should be in a band, Oh, hang on, we've arrived here, and it was down to management, record label support, the fans, the BBC giving us top of the pops, all that stuff. It all ended up being. How it should be, how you imagine being in a band is. Yeah. And it was like this, it couldn't get any better, really. It was a great time. And we've carried on since then, doing pretty good, I think. And I'm just amazed that we're still around talking about it in this period of our lives. And we've got, a couple of years' time, it's going to be, we'll have been together for 50 years. Yeah. It's like the song, isn't it? We've been together now for 50 years. And it don't seem a day too much. Blimey. And I've gone mad. So I think we do pretty good, and I'm really pleased and lucky to be working with Tony Clark in all these years. And my new best friend, Tobias Sammet from Avantasia. And how lucky could I be, So there you go.
And just touching on Just touching on your newer stuff then, because like I said, you do release really frequently, but the albums are still so well received. I mean, your last 4 albums have all gone top 40 as well, haven't they?
Yes, that's
And that's not an easy thing for older bands who are coming back to keep maintaining that success.
Yes, it's difficult for Tony to come up with an album to rival the one that was so successful, and he keeps managing to do it somehow. And it's a pleasure to hear the new songs when they come along. And this, it's. I think we're still here because the fans like the music. That they've grown up with us, and a lot of them weren't. Were just like nippers when we were going earlier days, or probably weren't even born. But we're generational. We get like 3 generations of fans just come and see families, the grandparents, parents and the children, and they've all got the T-shirt on, they all know the words. They've all got the flag flying for Magnum, and they're brilliant people, and because they love the music, they connect with what Tony's songs sound like, what they're about, the lyrics, or just the general good feeling that is created from those recordings, and we've been doing that for a long time now, and we're lucky to have that kind of person who follows us and buys everything that we put out. And thank you very much, people, because that's what bands need. They need just support, and I shall wear it always. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Bob, for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you today.
That's nice of you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for listening to Magnum over the years, and stick with it. That's what I wanted to finish on.